Good morning, Joe Dalton from SERVPRO here with Beans in Business. Got my good friend Dan Lewis joining us this morning, Air Force veteran, attorney here in Sanford. Been a good friend for a long time, and we've got some coffee from our favorite coffee shop here in Sanford, Palette Coffee, where we run into each other a lot.
Pretty often.
The only other place we run into each other a lot is probably Executive Cigar, but we can't smoke cigars in here, so we'll stick with coffee today. But great to have you, Dan. We've known each other for a long time, and one of the things that really strikes me about you, I want you to talk a little bit about your success, your drive to become an attorney after the Air Force, and then let's talk a little bit about your community leadership and what drives you in those areas, and then we'll just take it from there.
To dive into my success, that's almost a hard thing to talk about because I just don't see it that way. This is just a natural extension of what I just want to do in my life. I think that's the best part about as someone who reaches success is just to finding a job that they enjoy, to be happy with who they are, to want to do what they do, and that fits me to a T. This isn't a job, it's just who I want to be today, and it's who I want to be every day, which makes it fun. When I first started out in life, I did not know what I wanted. I think I figured that out every decade of my life. In my 20s, I was in the military. I was an airplane mechanic. I flew around serving my country to all sorts of exotic destinations and did a very diverse set of skills. But I knew that wasn't what I wanted to be forever. So in my 30s, I used the GI Bill. I was lucky enough to get an education. I thought I wanted to be an educator. I taught at Orange County Public Schools for 2 years. I adjuncted at UCF for 8 years. I worked myself through law school as a college professor. When it came time to go for the PhD, I decided that's really not who I want to be either.
Right.
So I went to FAMU and got my law degree, go Rattlers, and being a lawyer just opens up an opportunity for me to be involved in my community, to be a businessman, to work with people, but it's not the be-all, end-all. So my successes are just starting, and where we go from here is a matter of how I want to live and construct my life and my own values and my own schedule.
Now, you still do some teaching, is that correct? Or I know last year you were doing a little bit.
I adjunct here and there. I'm lucky enough to be able to adjunct at University of Central Florida, Seminole State College, and I've been doing that on and off for a decade. I did it full time for 7 years, but now it's more sparse, but I still enjoy it.
So one of the things that is really close to both of our hearts is this community of Sanford. And you were heavily involved in the community cleanup project before we got involved. And then, our getting involved was kind of a tie-in because it fits kind of our business model. But tell me a little bit about what you saw there, why you got started in that, and why you continue to lead that project.
Well, it's a great project. Why I got started in it was just wanting to get involved in my community. Wanted to make it better. And the little things that matter as a local business owner were making Sanford look and feel to someone coming in for the first time like a place they wanted to be.
So true.
We set up, our initial cleanup group was not my own. It was set up by Paul Williams, John Dodonna, and Zach Waters. I came in about a year later. But really, their focus was to give Sanford that clean sweep, to build and install pride among business owners who every day we'd find ourselves cleaning our own sidewalks, cleaning our own areas for our own patrons. The natural extension of that was to involve our neighbors and then to start sponsoring parks like Palucci Park and Fort Mellon Park, to work with the city on signage, to work with the Mayor's Youth Council with litter initiatives. Once you get it going and have a positive energy, there's no end to the amount you can tap into. We've been blessed to have great buy-in at every level. And honestly, it's just, we want to make Sanford feel as good to someone coming for the first time as we can.
I'm always amazed when we participate in that community cleanup day with you guys, not just the employees from SERVPRO that come out, but the volunteers. They have a blast. I mean, they're engaged. They want to be a part of that. They take pride in it, almost some ownership in it, and it's so much fun to be around.
It's so true. You wouldn't think that trash picking in a group would be fun, but there you are, it is. Honestly, it's the best hour of my month most months. When we go out there, it just feels like, we accomplished something.
Right.
I go by the park on the corner of 1st and Sanford Ave, which is Palucci Park. small little park that not many people know is there. And every time I go by it, I think, I mulched that with my daughter.
Right.
I picked that up with my friends. We planted those trees. And it's just those little things that no one ever knows and no one will ever see, that we want to make this place better. And as a business owner, as a community leader, it's not just about the bottom line of running a business, paying taxes, employing people. What can I reach out and do to make it better literally around me?
We talked a little bit about that earlier because I believe that wholeheartedly, and it's one of the things that I respect about you so much, and that is that there are a lot of people that talk about what they do or talk about what they used to do, and I'm very much that's great. What are you doing right now? And there's a lot of that go. I think that's the heart of Sanford. You just see that a lot, but like everywhere in the world, certainly within this country, nationally, it's a pretty divisive time overall, whether it's political, doesn't matter what it is. And that's not just unique at a national level. I mean, we have some of that going on here in Sanford. What can we do as business leaders and community leaders to make that better?
You asked a tough question. It's very true. Divisiveness is one of the biggest problems we're going to have at a local, state, federal level in the current climate. It's tough to get away from. I think that all we can do as business leaders is to try to extend ourselves and to find commonalities in any level. No one ever asks what your political affiliation are or what your beliefs are. We're out there picking up trash together.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At every level, Sanford is blessed, no matter if you're right or left or rich or poor. We have so many people here who genuinely care about the community. And I don't think we're unique in that. I think that we're special, but I think there's a lot of communities that you could tap into that same source of special. It just takes the right group. Honestly, I think that once momentum starts, people will jump in. The hardest thing is getting the ball rolling.
Right.
It was easy for me in a lot of ways to piggyback on what a lot of people here in Sanford have already been building and to come in and add my own style to that. This is not something organically that I created out of vapor, and nothing I do I feel ever needs to be that way. We're very blessed, I think, at every level. Our current leaders, you look at the past, find ways to work together, find commonality, and improve our situations. There are things I think that the majority of people can absolutely agree on, divisive or not.
One of the things that I love about you and so many of the names you've mentioned and some others is that I can pick up the phone and reach out to any one of that group. And a lot of times the first or second sentence is, what do you need? And I hope you guys, that's reciprocated by me because it seems to be what we do as leaders. And then you're right about that momentum. I mean, it's a domino effect. And that picks up that engagement that we need so desperately to continue what's been built in Sanford. And I stay super excited about what's going on in this city and this community. There are some things that concern me. There's a lot of hurdles out there right now as a small business owner, whether it's the cost of goods, whether it's the length of time to get things. Sometimes you can't get things right now. But probably my biggest concern is what's going on with the labor force. Literally a year ago at this time, I was starting technicians at $13.50 an hour. I can't get anybody in the door at $18 an hour right now. What's going on there? What's your take on where we're headed? Is there a solution? Is this just the new reality?
That's a tough question, and you are certainly not alone. It seems more often than not when I talk to my business contemporaries, fellow business owners, they're having a hard time, especially in the service sector, getting labor.
Right.
Restaurants, bars are really feeling the crunch. And I think that in the service industry, it's a special, it's always a job that's filled with turnover. It's always an employment background that's a little difficult, but now more than ever. But it's not just the service industry, it's everywhere. I'm not sure what the answers are to motivate people of a younger generation to want to go out and have the hustle and hard work that we used to have. I'm not sure if it's a matter of the jobs not being worth it or if other options exist. All we can do as leaders, as employers, as a business community, is to create those jobs. Labor is a huge need right now. Part of me as a skeptic wants to say the times are going to get worse before they get better. And only through people getting to the point where employment is more needed or required for them that they want to come back. I feel right now, a lot of ways people can get away with not working. I don't know how long that can last.
Right.
And I don't know what you can do to make someone who doesn't want to work want to hire, want to come on.
You can't. And I'm not sure that's being skeptical. I think that's being realistic. And you know, when we talk about the work ethic, don't get me started on the participation trophy element of everything.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. So moving off of that topic, let's go back to Sanford. We both have been involved in so many events that are put on, and Sanford an event every weekend. There's something going on every week. I have loved recently the move to Sundays for the food truck events, and I've loved that we tend to now be using the waterfront a little bit more. You've seen that with the live concerts, the C3 event, the things that are going on at Fort Mellon Park now. We've talked about that a long time. I think this waterfront has been underutilized, and it's nice to see some things gravitating that way. Do you agree?
100%. I think that we are so privileged in Sanford to have an opportunity to explore a waterfront. It's underutilized. The marina, the waterfront, the Riverwalk are huge assets. Quality of life, infrastructure assets we have with the Riverwalk expansion cannot be ignored. Sanford's in a very interesting spot. We have an airport, a major train hub, a harbor, a marina.
Right.
We have opportunities to bring people in many different ways. Putting events down at the riverfront, be it the Get Hooked fishing tournaments, be it the C3 events, businesses expanding, it's all good for Sanford. I think we need to go much further in developing the waterfront. And at some point, the question is going to be, how do we bridge the waterfront to downtown?
Oh, I agree.
Which is already there. How do we connect 1st Street, 2nd Street, Sanford Ave to what we're doing in the water?
Right.
How do we shuttle people and make it pedestrian safe walkways? How do we tie it in a natural way?
Right.
I think we're going to see a lot of that happen with the lot the Heritage Park is coming in on, because it literally will bridge from the Riverwalk up into 1st Street. We're going to see a lot of that as develops the lot right next to you is developing the townhomes and things stretching down towards the lake.
Right.
I think that the opportunities of exploring the waterfront with the new partnership coming in on the marina gives us a chance to set things on a new foot and hopefully really monetize it to draw in attractive crowds. Events at the water have a whole different feel than events downtown.
It's so true. They definitely do.
The open air, the breeze, the venue, it's gorgeous.
Right.
We are so lucky to be able to have that at our disposal.
Right. I agree. And I love us heading in that direction. We've both been a part of the meetings where those topics have come up, and I think people are finally recognizing that that's the way we need to move.
How ironic that we're actually making lemonade out of some lemons.
That
we
right.
have to move more events to the water, to the Civic Center, to these areas because of what's great downtown. What's great downtown is growth. Everywhere I look, I'm walking into equipment. I'm walking into streetscapes being redone. I'm seeing buildings getting brought back from 50 years ago. It's amazing. And with that comes congestion. With growth comes logistically people getting more pushed in events on top of each other every weekend. This event, that event, overlapping, running simultaneously, going into the night, running all day. Having to shift things to Sundays, having to shift things to the water might not have been the first and natural choice. It's a way to work with the congestion and some of the overlap we have downtown. But what a blessing to have that at our disposal.
It's a nice problem to have. It's a nice problem to have.
I wish every other city in our county probably wishes they had that problem.
Yeah, there's no doubt that we're garnering that attention all over the state of Florida right now.
The model that Sanford has could and will be replicated by many other jurisdictions.
No question.
I know other cities have picked my brain. I know they've come to many other business leaders in our community, our politicians, asking what they're doing right. Which sometimes the business community is a double-edged sword. It's great to be recognized as the group or the area of the city that's doing it right.
Right.
It's great to be envied. It's not so great sometimes to be copied. And it makes resistances, as you always feel in the small business community, less appreciated. We are an envy of what other cities want to be. We are a model, and we should be more supported in that rather than sometimes marginalized or treated in a certain way that makes us feel like we have to accommodate.
Yeah, we definitely, it's almost like we're undeserving of it to a degree, and that's just simply not true.
It's a good word for it.
Let's talk a little bit about kind of the social media white elephant, if you will, because you see it everywhere, and that's why can't retail business survive down here? You know, we just, you see it's just real. It's a real problem, and I don't know that there's a solution. I'd just like your take on what the issue is there.
Retail is definitely a hard one to crack without vibrant foot traffic. Sanford's foot traffic primarily comes from its nightlife. At
Right.
this point in time, we're more focused on the bars. We're more focused on weekend and evening traffic.
Right.
Retail running during the day, we don't have a lot of foot traffic down here, especially since the one half, the criminal part of the courthouse, left a few years ago. And soon enough, we're going to lose a civil half.
Right.
They're moving down to 5 points down there, and we're not going to have a lot of people who come in here that patronize our restaurants and our retail establishments. That being said, we have a lot of residents who will be moving in. We have townhouse under development. We have more building in the downtown area than I can ever recall Sanford having. We can't go more than a block without seeing something, and it's usually residential at this point. That foot traffic will help. At the end of the day, though, I see successful retail. One example I'll use is Magpies. Magpies has been able to thrive in a retail environment due to strong marketing, strong presence, and a consistent theme. Location matters. First Street can be done. It takes the right person, the right business plan. It can't just be something you throw out there without having a streamlined, coherent vision. It won't work.
No.
Not unless you have vibrant foot traffic, which we don't have right now.
Correct. It's very much a marathon, not a sprint scenario for retail. But you're right; it's heading in that direction. And if we're patient, and it's the right business person, Magpie's the perfect example, with the correct strategy, then they can be successful in this market. You know, Mount Dora is a little different. Mount Dora almost does it the opposite way. Their restaurants and bars are successful because of their retail traffic, and everything closes relatively early at night. So I think our restaurants and our bars are critical to continuing the success and bringing that foot traffic in. So I'm not worried about the retail side, but I do agree with you that it's just timing.
It's going to lag behind the nightlife and the entertainment and the service based on the foot traffic during the day. As more residential units are built and occupied in the downtown area, and there's plenty of plans underway and in construction,
Right.
it will improve.
Right.
But it is a challenge. Retail is a challenge due to labor shortages. Retail is a challenge due to foot traffic. It's a tough area. That said, I'm really excited that the old Horsemeyer building is turning into the Unfurl Collective, which is a vibrant retail market.
Yeah.
We're seeing more retail that are willing to stake their claim here because we are building that.
Right. Right.
And that collective, much like our folk galleries on First Street, what Janine runs, and a lot of other retail shops at the Hollerbox run in Magnolia Square with their deli, it can be done. I see successes. There are failures. There will be setbacks. Nothing is ever a straight line, but I believe as we get more people engaged and businesses are attracted to our lifestyle, our events, our nightlife will increase our footprint even during the day.
Yeah, our good friend Dino has just opened a shop. I
example.
think he's going to be extremely successful there. So I'm excited about where we're heading.
Dino's an example of an entrepreneur who can consistently put out a good vision and a good business plan.
For sure.
I have no doubt he'll be successful because
Right.
of who he is.
Right.
And with retail, sometimes it comes down to more of that than it comes down to what you're selling.
Right.
From my perspective, as someone who doesn't do retail at all.
Yeah, and he's good at it, and he has a good product. As somebody that knows
That's right.
a little bit about that space, he's got a really good product.
You definitely do know something about that space. You could tell us retail stories.
Well, Mr. Lewis, I appreciate it. You're a good friend.
Thanks, Joe. Anytime.
Cigar soon.
Anytime to that. Absolutely. You know
All
where
right.
to find me.
Good deal. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks for having me in today.